Morning, everyone. Um, I was thinking over the weekend, I had gone to see a movie, and there were some advertisements of some new movies that are coming out, and some of these movies are about home invasions, and home invasions where the people that are doing the home invasion, they're there to basically torture and kill. They're not there, to rob. They incidentally, if they see something that they wanted, they of course rob the people. But they were there basically for the purpose of torture. And it got me thinking about, a movie that I had seen some time back, came out in the late 1990s, I believe, called Funny Games. And there were two people, two men, that essentially that's what they did. They did a home invasion, and then they, for the purpose of harming and torturing the people that lived there. And it then reminded me of a true crime that happened, I guess now it's probably been about 10 or 15 years ago. And it's called Stephen Spader. Stephen Spader, they lived in Vermont, and they actually invaded the house of a lady by the name of Kimberly Cates, and her daughter Jamie was also there. And essentially, they used a machete to hack Kimberly Cates to death, and they severely maimed the 10-year-old daughter. Um, and then it also reminded me of a story that I read many, many, many years ago. And it just reminded me, and it was in the 1920s in Chicago. There were two friends, Leopold and Loam, Nathan Leopold and Richard Loeb, that they killed a young cousin, actually, one of them by the name of Bobby Franks. And both of these individuals were very, very, very wealthy and came from very wealthy families. And essentially, they committed the crime for the purpose of killing, for the purpose of committing the crime. They wanted to know, essentially what it felt like. And there are many, many different reasons that people kill. I think I had heard, there's an old adage of saying that humans are the only ones in the animal kingdom that actually kill for reasons other than survival. And I don't, that's not necessarily true. I think dolphins in particular, um, inflict pain upon other things that they kill before they kill them, and could derive a certain amount of pleasure from that. We don't know that for sure. But if you look at the psychology, okay, behind the thrill kill, it really becomes very interesting. Because there was an article in Psychology Today that came out earlier this year, and it says they come to crave the euphoric adrenaline rush provided by stalking and capturing the victims. The primary motive of thrill killers is to induce pain or terror in their victims prior to killing them, which provides intense stimulation and excitement. The stalking and hunting of their prey becomes the addiction, much like a narcotic drug. So, once the actual commission of the crime and the murder is actually undertaken, um, it's almost like the euphoria downfalls. That is kind of an interesting thing because, like for example, we know that Jeffrey Dahmer, enjoyed after the person was killed, basically post mortem type of activities of killing people and having sex with the corpses and so on. And so, I think it's interesting that some of the indicators are there as far as people that would be thrill killing. Clearly they are psychopaths. There's no doubt about that. There's absolutely no more remorse whatsoever for the killing. But it should be something that is readily identifiable and predictable. That somebody that would has absolutely no compunction whatsoever identifying victims and people for fun. Um, I just think it's interesting also that more and more seem to be coming out to reflect that particular issue, and the people enjoy watching those movies. Which I have to admit, I remember the movie Silly Games. I thought it was interesting. I enjoyed it myself, but it really kind of harks back to a lot of this about why do we reflect that part of our personality in these movies, and what part is it of us, that is so compelled to pay attention to these things. To this day, some of the great serial murders, bind, torture, kill is a good example. People are fascinated by that story to this day. I don't know. I don't think we have all the answers. I really don't. I mean, I know certainly that I don't. I just think that it's definitely intriguing and definitely interesting, and not the study of those people in particular, but the study of why we want to study and why we want and are entertained by these things. I think that's actually more interesting in itself. So, on that note, until next time, thank you.